Mike, I swear to you, nobody knows this story, and you're going to hear this story. I hired all my staff a month early, hoping that phone was going to ring. If that phone didn't ring, I don't know what I would have done. I don't, because I had these kids starting in preparation. In case that phone rang, I had the time and the resources to allocate to it.
What'd you have to do?
But guess what? The fucking phone rang.
Right.
And it worked.
Well, it rang because of the things you were doing. You know
because
what I mean?
it
doesn't just happen.
It doesn't happen. And that's the point, is that you just grow. You figure out, the first year I made mistakes, sure. The second year I made less mistakes.
Yep.
The third year I made less mistakes. The fourth year I made less. And this year, I hope, but there's always potholes. There's always speed bumps.
This was a great episode with Michael Melchionne, local firefighter, entrepreneur, and owner of We Hang Christmas Lights. Michael is always looking to improve and get better, and that's exactly what he did with his new business, We Hang Christmas Lights. This is a great episode. Enjoy the show. All right, guys, here we are on another episode of The Mic Drop, powered by Premier Mortgage Lending. Today we have on Michael Melchionne.
You got it.
Bingo. All right, I got it. First try.
Yes, sir.
Michael is a firefighter, also owner of We Hang Christmas Lights.
That is correct.
Right?
That's it.
Awesome business.
Yes.
By the way.
Thank you.
You know, I reached out to you, 2 or 3 years ago now?
3.
Yeah, 2 or 3 years ago, because I had seen that somebody else had, lights and, put up at Christmas time. And I'm like, I'm not going to climb up on the fucking roof.
No, you are not.
Not
on your house. Not on your
One,
house.
I don't have time for it.
No.
2, I don't want to fall off the roof.
No.
Right?
That's it.
So it's an awesome business. And I think it's really we like to have people on the show that have kind of like an entrepreneurial mindset, want to kind of think outside of the box and do different things.
Yeah.
And when I saw that you had brought, your business to town in Wyndham, I was like, it's a home run.
Yeah.
How'd you fall into that?
So obviously I love Christmas.
Yeah.
So I was Googling how to hang Christmas lights once. And
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? Somebody does this. There's somebody out there that does this shit. It makes it look so nice.
Yeah.
And I found a company that did it. I went to work for them, and I won Best Decorated House 3 years in a row when I lived in Massachusetts.
Yep.
And the guy said to me, he's like, I don't service New Hampshire. He's like, why don't you go to New Hampshire and do this for yourself? Because this is what you got to do. And I just have a passion for it. I would decorate for him all day, and I would go home and decorate my house till 3 a.m.
Really?
You
just love it?
I love it. And so I said, you know what? Like, I'm like, really, is this real? Is this, and I said, let's sit down. Let's talk business here. And he showed me the numbers, and I'm like, okay, there's something here.
Yeah.
And me being me, I can't just go out and have 10 accounts like a normal person, 20 accounts. I have to go out and get hundreds of accounts and try to acquire the biggest accounts and just push the needle over and over and harder. And that's what I do. And that it started as a hobby. Literally, it was a hobby. I just learned how to do it on my own house. And now it's grown into this machine.
It's incredible.
5 years later, it's a machine.
I was going to ask you, it's been 5 years, and you're a full-time firefighter as well.
I am.
In Nashua.
Yeah.
Right? So would it start as, you're a full-time firefighter and work 2 on? 4
Yeah,
off?
we work 2 days. Well, so I work a 24 on, 2 days off, or 24 on, 4 days off.
Okay.
During the holiday season, I work, I'll probably work for 5 months straight.
Right.
Like I'm never
Every day.
home. I'm never home. Never. Right. My assistant will go to lunch and my phone will ring 15 times at lunch.
Awesome.
My assistant's like, I don't know how you keep this pace.
Yeah.
I don't. It's amazing. It's nuts. It's like now, what is it, April?
Yeah.
And I just got done doing 2 estimates today.
So what you're doing now is essentially you're going around doing estimates for next year.
Yeah, because, municipal, they work on a fiscal budget. So they're looking for budgets for next year. So they're trying to get their money squared away. And then commercial accounts, kind of the same thing. They work on a quarterly basis. So like I just came back from Natick. I just signed a shopping plaza down there, and it's just nonstop.
That's awesome.
And then I just signed with another company called Trim Light, which is a permanent mount product. So like WeHangChristmasLights.com is basically a temporary lighting. It's like your lights. So we put them up. They stay up for 2 months. We take them down.
Sure.
Per fire code, they can only stay up for 90 days.
Okay.
That's by definition temporary lighting.
Yep.
Trim Light is a product that we go up and we permanently mount to the structure. It stays up year round, but it's RGB controlled. So I can sit here on my phone and I could control this. I can make this whole building turn colors in an instant.
Really?
Over 7 million color combinations.
Wow. So is that just commercial or is that residential as well?
It applies to residential. Like I'm actually going to a client's house tomorrow. He has a cigar lounge out back and he's got 2 gaming buildings.
Yep.
And we're going to put him on all of his outdoor buildings.
Awesome.
And he's going to sit there and just fuck with his controller and just change it because he feels like it.
That's sick, though.
It's awesome. Like
That's cool.
Like if you have an outdoor kitchen, like you could do it like under the
Yep.
the counter, whatever you want. Like it's incredible.
Is it like LED?
It's all LED.
Okay.
It's a strip.
Yep.
And then you could change it. So like if it's 4th of July, you can make it red, white, and blue. Valentine's Day, make it red.
Oh, wow.
St. Patrick's Day, make it green. Halloween, make it orange. Whatever you
That's
want.
awesome.
Like, it's
That's really
unbelievable.
Cool. So the company, right? Is it like a franchise?
Similar. It's an affiliate.
Okay.
So I'm an affiliate. So like what I do is I buy zip codes. So I, again, being me, I started with 13.
Yep.
Now I have 76.
Okay.
Basically, this is kind of what the way it went down was you go and you buy a zip code. And what they'll do is they'll establish a Google My Business account for me in each zip code. So basically, if a person lives in Marblehead, right, they'll go to my website and they'll put in their zip code and the lead gets sent right to my phone.
Okay.
Or my email.
Yep.
Or if they call the 800 number, they put in their zip code and it comes to me. So that's kind of how it started in Southern New Hampshire. So now I wanted to expand into Massachusetts. And I had called WeHang Corporate, which is in California. And I said, look, I want to acquire more zip codes. And they said, okay. So I sent them the zip codes I wanted, all Metro Boston, higher end zip codes.
Yep.
Because, the demographic that I cater to is a higher end.
Yeah.
So I sent them the zip codes and they called me back and said, oh, sorry, Michael, we can't give you those. We're sending those to somebody else. And I said, well, what do you mean? And they said, well, there's another affiliate. I said, well, when did he sign on? They said, well, last year. So let me get this straight. I said, I've been with you for 4 years and I abut this town here and you gave it to somebody else. You didn't even call me. No. I said, okay, no problem. I said, could you send me a list of the zip codes that guy has, please? He goes, sure. So he sent it to me. I bought every other zip code from where he stopped to the ocean.
There you go.
So now I own it all. So nobody can touch it. So
right?
Now I have,
what do you pay, like a fee per town?
I pay it's by population.
Right. Okay. So obviously, Wyndham's going to be different than
So
get on that way. Wellesley.
yeah,
right?
well, exactly.
Right.
So and that's what I do. So now I have all that territory, and then with Trimlight is very much the same thing, the same setup, same style, except their fee structure is a little different. But there's no royalty fees. There's no what you would quote unquote call a franchise fee.
Okay.
I just pay every year when WeHang. I pay an annual fee, and that just covers the time for them to update my Google stuff. And
that's great.
It's all my marketing. I'll wake up to 20, 30 estimate requests. My assistant told me last year, because it was so busy, I turned down 72 estimates.
Really?
It was so busy. I could have had 25 guys on the road 7 days a week last year.
Well, let's talk about that, right? Because for people that are, watching, listening, want to understand how you get into a business and take off, right?
Mm-hmm.
How did it start from when? What was it? So did you start with 13 or did you start with one zip code?
I started with 13.
Okay.
And I started with one 10 by 20 storage unit.
Okay.
Working out of my Honda Civic. I rented a truck.
Yep.
And now I have a 60 by 90 warehouse, multiple trucks, and just,
So let's start from the beginning, though, right? So you said, hey, I'm just going to do it. You've got the storage shed. You got some materials. You got a Honda Civic you're zipping around in.
Yep.
You get your first. So you say, I'm going to do this. You buy the zip codes.
Yep.
What happened from there? How did it take off? Let's hear that kind of progression, because what I tell people here and other people that I work with out there in the world, it's like, if you want to do something, you just have to start taking steps, right? You got to start moving, right? You didn't jump in and say, okay, well, I'm going to have 77 zip codes and X amount in this and think that was how it was going to be.
No. You
started small.
No.
But you got there.
So it's funny. This morning I was listening to your podcast. And I was trying to get a tenor of the. So obviously I listened to Joe's and I listened to who else I listened to? Eric, was it maybe?
Yep. Spofford.
Yeah, I think it was Eric's and somebody else's too.
Yep.
And the theme is consistent, right? You have to be patient.
Always.
I always tell people I play chess, not checkers.
Yep.
And that's how business is, right?
100%.
If you play checkers, you will lose. If you play chess, you will win.
Yeah.
You have to
you can't be trying to win immediately. It just doesn't work that way.
No, it doesn't. You have to plot around. You have to figure. So like Tuscan Village, for example, right? When I drove by in 2019, I saw the sign. And I said to myself, and I told Joe this very story, I said, I'm going to put Christmas lights up there. The year he opens, I'm going to put them up. I don't know how. I'll figure it out.
Yep.
And it took me 3 years to figure out how, but I did. And that place looked fucking amazing.
You did all the, I didn't even know you did all the
I
lights.
did all the lights there. Well,
awesome.
I did the post, but I did all the buildings.
Awesome.
I did all the buildings.
Yeah, it did look amazing.
It looked amazing.
Yeah.
But point being is that it takes time and patience. That shit doesn't come overnight.
No, absolutely.
You're not going to acquire a contract like that overnight. You have to have credibility. You have to have a good reputation. And But yeah, and there's also something else. I tell the kids that work for me, it's very simple. No balls, no bands. You have to take risks.
Always.
You have to. Tuscan, I took an enormous risk this year. I didn't know if I was going to sign it. I had no, Mike, I swear to you, nobody knows this story, and you're going to hear this story. I hired all my staff a month early, hoping that phone was going to ring. If that phone didn't ring, I don't know what I would have done. I don't, because I had these kids starting in preparation. In case that phone rang, I had the time and the resources to allocate to it.
What you have to do.
But guess what? The fucking phone rang.
Right.
And it worked.
Well, it rang because of the things you were doing. You know
because
what I mean?
it
doesn't just happen.
It doesn't happen. And that's the point, is that you just grow. You figure out, yeah, the first year I made mistakes, sure. The second year I made less mistakes.
Yep.
The third year I made less mistakes. The fourth year I made less. And this year, I hope, but there's always potholes. There's always speed bumps. Like last year, staffing was brutal.
Right.
Our costs went up, and I'm telling clients that bill me for 4 years, sorry, the price is going up. Well, when Dunkin' Donuts is paying a guy $19 an hour to pour coffee, how am I going to pay them $15 an hour to walk on your roof?
Right.
Right?
Right.
So it's just a byproduct of the system. But then last year we couldn't find people to work.
How'd you navigate that, right? Because everybody, kind of got through that challenge in a different way. What'd you do? You have the same crews, just work more?
Well, I see, the problem is I'm very picky who I hire.
Yep.
Because, there are people's houses and people are home and they're watching and they're listening. So and I have a very strict grooming policy, uniform policy. I require a certain product for my employees. I'd rather have no employees than wrong employees.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean? I don't want to babysit the wrong people.
Yep.
I don't. Because like I was just explaining to them this morning, or just a few minutes ago rather, that one person can ruin you with social media.
Easily.
It ruin you.
Easily.
And
yep.
I navigated it by this business is like a very complicated dance. Like I set up the schedule around a million variables, the weather, right? If I have 20 roof jobs to do in a week and it snows or it rains for 2 days, I'm done.
You're done.
That knot in your stomach that Eric was talking about, that knot that we all feel.
Yeah.
I feel it from September to January.
It's good though. It keeps you alive.
It keeps you alive. I love it.
Keeps you moving.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
So again, right? And we keep talking past it, right? I want to understand how you went from the garage and the Civic.
Just
so
perseverance.
How did you market yourself to start? How did you get clients? What'd you do? Mailers,
yes.
Instagram, Facebook,
yes. So
knocking on doors?
So I have a policy with my guys. I use door hangers.
Yeah.
So when they go to a house, 5 doors up, 5 doors down, door hangers.
Yep.
If you notice, there's signs all over that town.
Yeah.
I put them everywhere. I pay high school kids to go out and hang signs for me, yard signs.
Yeah.
Especially when I first started. Now, like everybody knows.
What I've noticed too is it almost becomes contagious in neighborhoods. Like,
correct.
I was the first one in my neighborhood.
Yes, you were. Yes, you were. Yes, you were. Yes, you were.
Now and now like every house on the street.
And I do almost the whole street.
Yeah, I know.
It's unbelievable.
I'm like, fuck. Now they all look the same.
We'll change the colors next year.
Make it different. Let's mix it up next year.
Red and white. Yeah, I mean, so I have a business coach, right?
Yep.
He's tremendously successful.
Okay.
And he says to me, he goes, I love the way you think because I see something and I just acquire it. Like you were talking about The Secret. I believe in that shit.
100%.
I mean, we'll get into that a little later, but like I visualize everything.
Yeah.
Everything. And when I see a building, I drive by, I'll see it. I'm like, hey, I want to light that fucking thing. How do I get that?
Yeah.
And I will plot around it and I will figure it out and I will get it. And and I don't stop until I do.
All right. So talk about that, right? So let's use, use Tuscan for an example, right? What was your approach there with Joe?
Well,
or whoever that person is?
Look, what is business? What's the backbone of business? Relationships.
100%.
Right? You make relationships. My clients don't buy my lights; they buy me.
Right.
Right. And I have a sale. This year I hired a sales rep. She's out doing cold calls for me. She does stuff for me, but she's not me.
Yep.
People buy me. Right. I come to your house. You're going to talk to me. You know me.
Yeah.
I go have a cigar with one of my other clients because he knows me. Yep. That's just the way it is. And it's about relationships. I made the relationships with the right people, and I proved to them that they can trust me. And then those 5 or 6 business owners put their word out there with me, for Joe, and that's what happens.
Yeah.
But it's all about relationships.
Well, it's planning it out too and
Yeah.
executing that, right? And
Right.
if you want to be, if you want to, get whether it's Joe or somebody else who owns a lot of real estate, right? And you want to get in with them, right? For me, it's always been real estate agents,
Yeah.
real estate agents that I want to work with,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Well, every loan officer, every mortgage guy out there is calling them,
Yeah.
right? I'm going to do something a little bit different,
Bingo.
right? How can I, how can I plan it out and actually be at the events that they're at? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do fundraisers with them. Do different things to get you involved to create those relationships. And that's what people need to do. You need to think a little bit and kind of game plan and plan it out.
You have to think outside the box. I always tell people, plan your work and work your plan. But I like, my theory was this. I wanted every time people turn their head to see my business, to see my brand.
Yeah.
Whether it's on the girl that walks her dog in front of your house every day.
Yep.
Plus me, I strategically hand out sweatshirts to people.
Yeah.
Okay, that walk their dog.
Great idea.
And you just have to look and you have to find what works. Somebody that goes to certain gyms with certain populations of people. Hey, here's a couple shirts for you. But just little things. But you have to just, at the end of the day, it's work.
Yeah.
It's work. The guys that work for me, I laugh. I'm like, what do you think? I go home at 6 o'clock and just go to, I said, I work 2 hours. I get up at 4:30 every day. I'm working 4 hours before you and I'm working 3 hours after you.
Yep.
But it's just, you just have to be persistent. You have to be diligent. And I would see things and I would go after them and I would use mailers and I would use street signs and I would use, this year, I did something so we hang corporate. I said, then what do you guys do how do you get some exposure?
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, well, we'll have somebody stand outside and hold signs and wave, like political season, right?
Yeah.
I said, fucking everybody does that.
Right.
I want to do something different.
Yeah.
So I hired a professional Santa Claus.
Nice.
I went on a company called Santa for Hire. I hired a Santa Claus. I gave him a sign. I had a sign custom made, and I put him out in Massachusetts in my new territory. He stood out there and waved.
Great.
And it's outside the box.
Yep.
Nobody has ever done that, ever.
No, it's smart though, because you're doing
Who
something.
the fuck doesn't love Santa?
Everybody loves Santa,
right? You know what I mean?
Right? Everybody
Everybody
loves Santa. Everybody loves Christmas lights.
Yes. So to me, it's a natural transition.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you got to just think a little bit differently.
You have to think differently. You have to,
or make what you're doing one step above what other people are doing.
Good. And I look at it this way. So if you ask me what motivates me, right? I could tell you a million different slogans, phrases, whatever. One thing motivates me. It's haters.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you walk in my townhouse in my living room, I have Conor McGregor posters all over, rain posters. And the biggest one is right in front. It says, "Doubt me now." It's when he won the double championship and he's sitting on the octagon. Haters motivate me. When I started this business, people laughed at me. They thought it was a joke. They thought I was a joke. Like, that's a joke. Are you serious with this?
Who did that?
Just people. And I
said, but I'm saying like in people that not specific people, but I mean like friends, family, coworkers,
coworkers.
Yeah.
They're like, come on, dude.
Yeah.
You're gonna hang Christmas lights and get paid.
Yeah, but you know why they do that, and that's why
because they're haters.
Well, haters, yeah, but it's because they don't have the balls to do it themselves.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. So
they just don't have the nuts
deflect.
to do it.
They deflect.
Right. They'd rather put you down.
Exactly. So I mean, look, every time you've seen me, I always dress better than I believe you are. You dress well. You command respect, and I would come down at work or wherever I'm going. I'm always dressed well. All my clothes are tailored for a reason. All my shit looks good for a reason. Because I am a representation of my product and my brand and my people. If you show up, let's take a guy like Joe. You go up and meet a guy like Joe. Joe is a meticulous man. Pays attention to every single detail. Well, guess what? It works because he commented on how I look. Because I take pride in that. But because in my job, in my business, attention to detail is everything. Because you can hang your lights, but when I do it, the attention to detail makes it look perfect.
Right.
And that's the difference. And I have attention to detail myself, and that reflects in my business, my work, my employees.
It's almost like putting on, talking about your dress, right? Because I do the same thing, right?
I know.
And for me, it's like I'm putting on my uniform.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
It is, yeah.
I'm putting on my game face.
Yes.
I'm putting on my fucking superhero outfit.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
That's the way I look at it.
I do.
I'm like, all right, getting dressed. I'm in my closet. I'm looking which shoes are going to go with which shirt and jacket. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to look sharp for this meeting today.
1,000%.
And it almost gives you a different level of confidence.
It does. And you exude confidence.
Right. And that that confidence that you have, other people feel.
Correct. It's 1,000% contagious.
You know?
And you command respect that way.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah,
do.
I think it's super important.
You do. And again, let's look at it this way. When you're doing what I'm doing, you need to do that because some of these jobs are a lot of money.
Mm-hmm. And
some people think, was this a sham? It's not. It's a legitimate business, but like you have to bring that with you. You have to bring that credibility. You know, and like you said, what separates you from other people? Because there's 50 guys like Mike Holmford trying to get this guy's attention.
Absolutely.
Because you look good and you command respect. And I'm the same way. No, people say to me all the time, you don't look like the average person because you dress better than the average person. And that's what I want people to remember.
Yep.
You know, like my stuff is monogrammed for a reason because I want people to remember that. I take pride in myself and pride in everything that I do. And there's but there's a fine line of arrogance and confidence.
Yeah, totally.
And one of the posters in my house is arrogance. Success is defined by confidence, not by arrogance and belief.
Yeah, nobody that's actually successful is arrogant.
No, you're 1,000% opposite of that.
Those are the people
yes.
that are trying to put on a front and trying to be something different than they actually are.
Yes.
Because when you put in all the work and you work real hard and you come across challenges and difficulties and you push through them and you get to the point where you've become successful in whatever you're doing, there's no more room for arrogance.
No, not at all.
If anything, you've become more humble.
You're humbling. This has been the most humbling experience of my life.
Right.
Watching this business grow. You know, because it has. I mean, I quadruple in business every year. That's kind of the way the model works.
Yep.
It's unbelievable. I can't even put my head around it sometimes.
Let me ask you this, and I have no idea what the answer is. We haven't talked about it before. Why, with the business taking off as much as it have, why are you still firefighting?
It's funny you say that.
Yeah.
I had to reach retirement age first.
Okay.
Because I just turned 40. I'm be 46 next month.
Fair answer.
So that's one. Two, healthcare costs. Healthcare costs are
fair,
outrageous.
Yep.
So people think when we retire that like the cities will cover our healthcare 100%.
Mm-hmm.
That is not the case.
No, I have no idea how that works.
So I have to cover it 100%.
Okay.
So that's an astronomical amount of money. So what I'm doing is I'm getting my business to a point where it's at a sustainable number every year that I need to be at.
Yep.
And that's why I signed with Trimlight this year. So I could just stay and do Christmas lighting and no problem.
Right.
But that's not going to give me what I want.
Right.
Because I hate being mediocre. I hate mediocrity. I detest it. So everything I do is to the next level.
Yep.
And that's why I signed with Trimlight. And that's why I did this other product called Inception Lighting, because it's going to give me that year-round lighting ability, relatively speaking, year-round.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to allow me to retire. That's what's going to allow me to get financially where I want to be and just continue moving this train in the right direction.
What level do you think you can take it to?
It's going to be wherever I want it to be.
Yeah. Have you thought about ever branching away from We Hang Christmas Lights, doing something on your own?
So here's the thing. It's the problem with that is they have such good internet presence. Right. You go their Google, you type in any keyword, they come up number one every time.
Yeah.
And that would cost me a fortune.
That would. To
build a website like that, to get that kind of internet presence when I'm paying next to nothing for it. Like I said, I wake up to email after email after email after email. My phone rings all day. So why would I reinvent the wheel?
You don't need to.
No.
And that's why I was asking. Yeah. That's a good answer, right?
No.
If financially it makes sense to pay them whatever the small,
few thousand,
fee is, whatever the cost is, to have access to all the benefits.
All the benefits.
Then it makes it worth it. Sometimes people let their ego get in the way.
Yeah.
And be like, I wanted to be fucking I hang Christmas lights.
Listen, exactly. I mean, I think when you run a business, you have to check your ego at the door. You have to.
Yeah, there's no room for it.
No, there isn't. Well, there is if you want to fail.
Right.
And I just think that, again, why change something that's working? To me, there's no need for that. It's working beautifully. Every year it's getting better. The thing about this is so a guy signed a amusement park in Virginia. Mm-hmm. It came through the lead generation system.
What is it?
An amusement park.
Oh, an amusement park?
Yes, over $2 million job.
Wow.
Came through the lead generator.
Right.
It's like lottery. You never know what's going to come through your email.
Which is awesome, though.
It's unbelievable.
It's exciting because every lead is what's this opportunity?
Yes.
I mean, that's the way anybody should think about anything, honestly. It's
all it is.
You don't value in our business, right? I don't value a $60,000 condo purchase any more or less than I do $1 million or $2 million purchase.
No.
Because you never know what that could lead to.
No.
You could do a tiny job for someone.
Yeah.
That, their brother, cousin, father could be the owner of Canopy Lake. You get a $2 million contract.
Well, and that's happened.
Yeah.
I do Paul Finn's house next door to the bank.
Yep.
Like New England.
Yep.
And obviously he's tied into the DeLuca family.
Yeah.
Like, so there's it's all relationships.
Yeah.
It's, I got an email request this year from somebody to do their house who happens to own pool and patio stores.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, oh, well, how about we do your stores? Okay.
Yeah.
So every lead is an opportunity. And I have about a 98% closing rate on my leads to
Well, I think, and I think because it's such I'm sure you're a great salesman too. I'm not knocking you for that.
No, that's fine.
But I'm saying because by the time people say, come on out, most of the time they're already fucking committed unless they're totally blown away by like what it costs or something.
It's not cheap. No, it's not cheap.
It's not cheap, but at the same time, it's pretty fucking easy.
It's very easy.
To show up at home.
One-stop shopping.
You know what I mean? And it's done. The lights are all done. The wreaths are on the windows.
Yeah.
The garlands on the posts.
Yeah.
And I don't have to do anything.
You don't do anything. Nothing.
It's great.
Because we do everything.
Yeah. Until you come and take it away.
Take it away. But I will say this, though. You cannot be afraid to charge your worth. Because that was a big thing for me, was like, as I grew, my overhead grew, which made my prices grow. And I'm like, that was a struggle for me to increase the pricing. But it's like, well, this is business. At the end of the day, we're all here to make money.
Absolutely.
My customers are number one. I'll do anything for them. And if you read my Google reviews, it says right on it, like Michael's always, I'm available to these people 24/7.
Yeah.
It's just, it doesn't matter. I have people text me 10 o'clock at night and 6 in the morning. Makes no difference to me. But you have to know what you're worth, and you have to know what your time is worth, and you have to charge accordingly.
And I think that's fair.
It is.
And anybody that doesn't understand that, they just don't understand business and the way it works. I mean, everybody needs to make money. That's why you you have a service that you offer, right?
Yeah.
You're not doing it just because you like to.
No.
You know what I mean?
No. I mean, I do, but I like to make money too, right?
You do. You're trying to earn a living,
yes,
right?
Absolutely.
And that's fair,
Yes.
And I can attest to what you said. I remember when I texted you this year, and I texted you, I don't know, it was probably some off time because I wasn't working late at night, early in the morning. I'm like, hey, Mike, when are the lights coming out or whatever? I was just like checking in.
Yeah.
And you responded within probably 20, 30 minutes. And you're like, they'll be out here this day or that day. And great, perfect. Easy, right? People want easy. So that's a service that you're providing. Ease of installation, ease of communication.
So you do nothing.
You
text me, you pay me, and your lights are there.
Right.
And they're gone.
Right.
And you do nothing.
And you show up.
Yeah, we show up.
You know what I mean? That's the tough thing with a lot of these businesses these days.
Don't show up.
You know what I mean? Whether it's, landscaping or this or that.
Whatever it is, yeah.
A lot of services, people just don't show.
I have a thing. When I get a lead request, I want that phone call returned within 10 minutes.
Yep.
So my assistant, I used to do all the vetting, but like during the season, I can't take all the calls. So my assistant will vet a lot. Like any lead that comes to my phone directly, like somebody calls me, obviously I take it. But the emails, she'll vet them. Because again, like I used to never have a minimum.
Right.
But now I have a minimum because I've grown and my costs are grown. So I can't do those smaller jobs anymore. I can't. So she will vet them. But I want people to say to me when I call them, oh my God, that's the fastest call I've ever had returned.
Right.
And they do.
Well, it's first impression.
It's first impression.
Then you get out there to give them an estimate within a couple of days or whatever.
Right.
As fast as you can.
Right.
And then people are just blown away by it.
Right. And then like this year I added that mock-up photo. Remember the photo I sent you?
Yeah, that was cool.
That was a game changer.
Yeah.
Because I can show somebody what the house looks like without even seeing them.
Right.
I like this. It's hard for me to meet everybody because like this year I had over 300 estimate requests.
Right.
We'll do the math in that time frame. That's hard.
Right.
So, but because I believe that one of the downfalls of this business world is that there's not the interpersonal relationship because everything is done by email and that face to face.
I agree 1,000% on that.
And I love that face to face. I love meeting people. I love that. And I try to meet all of my clients, but I just can't.
I mean, even if you meet them, once.
But that's what I do.
But then the next year you don't necessarily have to because they already know you.
Right. So even if they, like for whatever reason I don't, like I sign a job online and we don't meet, when my installers are there working, I will go there and meet them.
Yep.
Or if I'm driving by, I'll shoot them a text. Hey, I just want to introduce myself because I believe that's important.
Yeah, pop in, say hi.
Right.
Like you and I think, met the first time you came to my house.
Yep.
And then, I've just like seen you around town after that.
Yeah.
You know what
Exactly.
I mean? But you haven't necessarily need to come back to the house.
No.
Right?
No.
Because we had a great exchange the first time.
Yeah.
And then I was actually behind you at the dump a few weeks ago.
And you didn't say hello?
You can't miss your truck.
And you didn't say
No,
hello?
I was still in line when you emptied yours.
That's nice.
I was still in line while you were emptying your truck. But you can't miss your truck.
No,
See it from a mile away.
Yes, you can.
That
is the point.
That's awesome. So the way you have the business set up now, right?
Yep.
Is it scalable, or do you hire your employees? Do you hire them for the season? Are they contracted?
So all the above. So I hire some firemen.
Yep.
Because obviously that's a good.
That's awesome.
Because that's convenient.
Because the schedule.
The schedule, and then I hire, like, what I do is when companies are laying off, I hire them.
Okay.
So my assistant this year reached out to certain companies.
Yep.
And when they lay off, we pick those guys up.
Good move.
Right. That's how I do it.
Right, so a lot of construction. You got a lot of stuff like that will lay off for the winter.
Yes.
Perfect timing for you to pick them up.
Yes. And then this year, I just made a relationship with another company that's going to give me a considerable amount of commercial business.
Yep.
And also manpower, because
they're going to give you people too.
Yes.
Which is huge.
I think a fair number of people.
Yeah.
Because that's the real issue is people.
Right.
I can't book work without people.
Right.
And that's why, like, when I do the preseason booking like we just did, that's one of the biggest reasons I do it. Yes, it can save you money.
Yeah.
I offer you 15% off because it's early in the season, but what that does is that allows me to forecast my season.
Right. Yeah, makes sense.
Like right now, I just signed the shopping mall over here to Village. We're going to be doing more next year. Like all these things, like all these, I'm doing Kittery Trading Post in Maine. Like,
nice.
Yeah, I mean, so like all these, we just did a bid. We just did a bid for them. I should have that too. But like, again, all these days add up because you throw a week of inclement weather.
Oh yeah,
that screws everything
I remember even
up.
when you guys were coming to, I think you were coming to take the lights off. Maybe I don't remember exactly. And we got like, it was rainy and then a little, and then we had like a little cold stretch. So everything was frozen again. Screwed you up.
You can't, because now everything's frozen to the roof.
Right. Screws up all your planning, what you're going to do.
And that's what I mean. So everything is just there's so many variables.
Yeah.
And then of course with COVID, the supply issues, that was a whole nother situation. Thankfully, I pre-bought a lot.
Yep.
In anticipation of it. But like with Tuscan, I knew that Joe wouldn't want green wire on his buildings. I knew it had to be black.
Right.
I didn't even make it an offer to him. Like I didn't even say, "Hey, do you want this?" I knew, because I know how attention to detail he is.
Right.
I bought the last 12 rolls of black wire in North America, and it took me a week and a half to find them.
Before you had the job.
Before I had the job.
That's the way to do it.
But like,
but you're doing those things, right? By doing those things, by hiring the people, by buying the materials, you're putting that energy out of the universe. You're manifesting that's going to happen. You're doing things that essentially make it happen. You're making what you want to have happen in life happen, and that's the name of the game.
That's it. That's the visualization piece.
Yep.
Like I visualize things, I see them, and I get them. It may not take. It may be a year, maybe 2 years, but I get them.
Well, that's the way you need to go about it. Write it down, plan it out, do the actions, and make it happen.
Right? You have to write it out. I have an accountability mirror. Did you ever read David Goggins' book? Can't Hurt Me.
Yeah.
I have the accountability mirror.
Yep.
I love that.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I believe that stuff.
It's real. It's real because even if what you're doing is if you have to, if you were my accountability partner, right, and I had to go to you every Thursday and tell you my activity for the week, right, I'm not going to want to call you up and tell you, I didn't do any of the shit I was supposed to do.
No.
You know what I mean? So not only do you have to be honest with yourself, you have to be honest with somebody else.
Yeah.
Which makes it real.
Yes, 1,000%.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why I hired a business coach, because I wanted that. I wanted somebody. It's kind of like the fire ground. I look at things from a 15,000 foot view. He's looking at them from a 30,000 foot view, and his vision of this company is massive. He goes, the numbers he's throwing out there are massive, and it's all doable. It's just you need to put the pieces in place, but you can't grow too fast,
right? Because
that's when things go sideways.
Absolutely.
You have to grow systematically, like I said, chess, not checkers. You have to grow slowly. You have to just be smart.
Even if you have to purposely slow yourself down sometimes.
Yes.
You know what I mean? purposely slow yourself down so you can almost grow into that volume rather than letting the volume kind of take you over.
Because I have one of my biggest principles is I never overpromise and underdeliver. Never. You cannot. Because that is the kiss of death of business.
Yeah.
It
absolutely.
really is. And if I tell you, Mike, I'm going to be here, I'm going to fucking be there.
Right.
Without question.
Right.
Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That's what's going to happen. And that's what you have to do. But when you overbook yourself and you start, shoving 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag and trying to do too much, something suffers.
Yeah.
And in business, you can't have that.
How do you manage it all? Right. So you got
Tums.
Right.
The gym.
So yeah, there you go. That's an answer though.
Yeah.
So you're at the firehouse. You've got, the business. You've got estimates. You got installations in the winter. You've got kids, right?
Yeah.
All right. So you got some kids in the mix.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
How do you manage it all?
Plus, I run a recovery group for first responders. Like I
Do you really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because I don't drink. I've been sober for 2 years.
Good for you, man.
I do a lot of shit.
Yeah.
Look, it's what fuels us.
Yeah.
I feel like you have to be built for this. You really do.
Yeah.
It's that feeling in your gut. It's like we just said in the onset of this conversation, people that want what we have, they're the first persons to shit on you because they don't take the risks.
Right.
And the guys will say, oh, it must be nice to have this or that. And I'll say, hey, you know what? You can have it. Come into my life for a week. Work the 100 hours that I work. Feel that stress that I feel when 4 guys call out sick, or you got a guy falls off of a roof and I go and visit him in the ER, or whatever you're doing, and it's.
I'll even show you how to do it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I really will.
Hey,
I
that's
will.
it. I'll show you exactly how to do
Step up to the plate, baby.
everything.
That's it.
But then you got to do it.
Like somebody said that to me the other day. I said, hey, just do it.
Yeah.
He says, I work. So then he says, well, I work 100 hours a week. I said, well, maybe you should work a little smarter, not as hard. And that's I don't know what to say to you.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, there's no key ingredient, there's no magic, there's no nothing. You have to work.
That's it.
And you have to risk something.
Yep. Hard work, risk, thinking, trying to be different. All those things are ingredients into making somebody successful.
People talk about motivation. Motivation is fleeting. Discipline.
Yeah.
Discipline doesn't let you down. Discipline doesn't fail
Right.
you. In my garage, I have a couple of posters in my garage. One is Jocko's Discipline Equals Freedom. That has single-handedly changed my life.
Yep.
And then I have another one. It's a little more colorful, and it says, sometimes I feel like quitting, but I have a lot of motherfuckers to prove wrong. And that's just the truth.
Right.
Like I don't want to curse all over your show, but guess what? It is what it is.
Shit.
It's what it is.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
Because there's all those haters out there that throw shade on you, and they want you to fail.
Yeah.
Because they feel like shit about themselves. And guess what? That's what motivates me. That's what.
How long have you had this feeling for? Have you always had that type of feeling?
Well, my
Is this a new feeling?
My childhood was always an interesting place. I come from an Italian family in New Jersey, and
No.
Yeah, I know it's a shock to you. And my father had a very interesting way of motivation. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
So I work very hard at I want to be better.
Yeah.
I want to be. Like I said, I everything I do, it's to the highest level. Like I was a fire instructor for years, and I traveled the country. I was part of a 32-man hand-selected team of people, thousands of applicants, and I got picked because I didn't want to just teach at the fire academy. I wanted to be at the highest level.
Yep.
And so I did. And then, okay, that was good. Now I want to do something else. Then I started my business, and I said, I want this, but this is the rest of my life, this business. This is my retirement. But that's how I do things. I take things to the highest level. I just push as hard as I can because that's what I like to do.
What's the end game? Do you have an end game?
It's funny you say that. I was talking to somebody about this the other day. I'm not going to do this till I'm an old man. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
The end game will be to build this brand to where I want it, put a price tag on it, sell it, and retire.
Now, with the way the business is set up, right, through corporate, right? Say you build it up, and you're all of New England, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just throw some shit out there. You're all of New England, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whole East Coast, whatever, right? Are you able to sell that to somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
So you just sell your whole book of business to
Right,
somebody else.
because We Hang doesn't own anything.
Right.
The only thing they do
Marketing.
is marketing,
Right.
and lead generation. That's
Right.
it. They don't set our pricing. They don't govern anything.
Right.
They just do our marketing. So I could, if my lead, if my client book is 700 people, let's say,
Right.
well, that's what you're buying.
Right.
You're buying inventory.
Right.
And those clients. That's
Right.
what you're buying. You're buying a turnkey business.
Yeah.
If you want to stay with We Hang, knock yourself out. If
Right.
you don't.
Don't. Right.
You don't have to. Like, they're like Big Brother. Like, you can outgrow Big Brother if you really want to. Like, I could shut it off right now and just keep what I have, but that's never going to happen because it's not enough.
Yeah. I mean, no, you just want to keep going. I understand that.
I just want to keep going.
That. So you said, so eventually, maybe someday you'll sell it.
Eventually.
Right.
We'll see.
Why not just make it so you can just manage it from the top and have people run it under you?
Well, there's that.
Yeah.
I have kids too.
I'm just throwing out ideas. You know what I mean? That's the way I always think.
Well,
You know?
So I read a book years ago, and it said making money while you sleep.
Yeah. Right.
That's what I like to do.
Right.
And so there is the potential for that. I have kids that may take this over. We'll see.
Yep.
I don't know. We'll
Who
see.
knows, right?
There's a lot of options out there.
Yeah, and I think it's totally fine not to have an end game, right? I don't have one.
I don't have one right now.
I don't have
Mike.
one.
I don't.
You know what I mean? What I've said for the longest time is I would like to be able to retire by the time I'm like 52. That doesn't mean I'm going to.
No.
That just means I would like to be able to.
Yeah.
It just mean financially and be in a spot where if I wanted to, I could. I don't think I ever will. You know what I mean?
It's one of the things I struggle with, and my business coach helps me with this, is, people say, enjoy the journey, enjoy the ride.
Totally.
And sometimes I don't, because I'm looking at, I always look further, and I forget, it's just what happens.
I do the same thing, Mike. Do you sometimes have a problem with feeling like this sounds crazy, right? Some people it sounds crazy, right? Where you're doing a ton of shit, right? Your days are busy, you're hustling, but you feel like you're not doing anything because you're not doing anything new.
Yes, all the time.
My wife's like, "What the fuck are you talking about? You're not doing anything. You've been working like a maniac for the last 20 years." I'm like, I don't know. I just feel like I need to do something new.
Yeah.
And I get that feeling every few months, and then we have to do something new, right, Ed?
Yeah, you do. Like it's almost like internal rebranding.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is. I totally understand that.
I like a new challenge.
I do. And that's kind of why I took on Trimlight, and I'm looking at other venues, other things to do, and just because look, you have to have your hands in sometimes a few cookie jars to keep things moving.
Yeah.
And I'm the same way. I get very, very bored if I don't.
Yeah.
And we'll see.
Yeah. That's cool. So one thing that I wanted to throw out there for people that are listening is the way the whole process works, right? I was saying, you show up, you do the lights, but we don't keep the lights.
No.
You take the lights.
Yeah, I keep everything. I own everything.
Yeah, it's literally like you don't do anything.
No.
They show up, put the lights up, take them down, take them away.
So the way the business model works is you rent all the product from me.
Yep.
We come out. So I have a company I use that gives me all your roof measurements, and then I obviously give you the pricing, and then once we go under agreement, we come out, we put everything up, we maintain it, we take it down, and we store it.
Yep.
And so some people, there are businesses out there that will sell you the lights, but now that's your product and you own it. So
I don't want them.
If something happens, well, you're going to pay me an hourly rate to come and fix it.
Right.
And then at the end of the season, I give you this box of lights. And let's say you call me next year and say, Mike, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going to give you this box of lights to do what with?
Right.
You're not going to hang them.
Right.
So that's why I use this business model.
I like it.
It works.
I like
better.
it. That's why I wanted to put it out there so that people know the way it works.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't have to store them. You don't have to do anything with them.
No.
You come, you take them, they're gone.
No. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have 30-foot trees for the town of Pelham. We do a tower tree in the town of Pelham. Like that's in my stuff. I have all kinds of stuff over there.
That's awesome.
Reese.
Where's your warehouse?
Derry.
In Derry?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you got a full warehouse of shit now.
Full warehouse. What's funny is the funniest part about this is I used to have a garage full of Christmas lights, right? Because I love Christmas, and now I have a warehouse full of Christmas shit. You know what I mean? Like it's a joke to me. Like literally, this was a hobby. It was a literal hobby.
Yeah.
And now it's turned into this machine.
Now we just keep going.
And we just keep going.
I can't wait to see where it goes.
Me neither.
Mike, where can people find you?
WeHangChristmasLights.com.
Okay.
You can go on there. You can find me on Google.
Yep.
I was telling them we had almost 40,000 hits in the month of November on Google.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Insane.
Do you have social media pages?
We do. We have We Hang Christmas Lights New England.
Yep.
On Facebook.
Okay.
Instagram and Twitter are being rebuilt as we speak. So
Dude, you should be all over Instagram.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
I was. So
With
we're
pictures
we're
of every
rebuilding.
house with you talking in front of them.
Yeah.
I think you do that, and I know you've got the marketing through We Hang Christmas Lights through the corporate, but man, you could get a shitload of business just by throwing that on Instagram.
Yeah, we were on Instagram last year, and my social media person wasn't good, so
Yeah.
I took it down because I said I'd rather have no social media and stagnant social media.
Agreed.
And
Agreed.
I'm trying to hire another social media person. My assistant is kind of actually on that as we speak.
Cool. Awesome. Hey man, this was great.
Pleasure. Thank you.
I think
Appreciate it.
I think anybody that needs lights for their house should call Mike.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can tell super hard worker, did a phenomenal job at my house. If you don't have it on Instagram, I'll have it on Instagram next year.
Yep.
And thank you for coming on, buddy.
Thanks, bro. I appreciate it.
All right, man.
Later.
Bye. Bye.
The Mic Drop. Subscribe to success.